Welcome to the channel. Today we're sharing a cheating story you won't believe. If you enjoy it, please like and subscribe. Let's get started. Life's been a mess lately, and I feel completely stuck, unsure of what to do. My name is Jason Brooks, I'm 26, and honestly, I'm just lost right now. I grew up in a great family with my older sister, Hannah. She's happily married now and has a son. Let me take you back a bit to my upbringing. I've always lived in the same house since I was born. Hannah used to pick on me, but that was just sibling rivalry. We get along great now. Next door were the Johnson, with Mr. and Mrs. Johnson and their daughter, my best friend ever, Chloe. Her name was Chloe, but she liked to be called Chloe. She was what my parents would have called a tomboy. We went to the same school, but she was a year behind me. Since first grade, we walked to school together. We were pals and told each other everything. I used to get mad when people called her my girlfriend because she was my pal and best friend. We talked like all kids do about different things. One day, we talked about kissing. I remember I was 12 at the time and not really into girls yet. We decided to kiss, and we had our eyes open and touched lips. Well, what do you think? I asked. I didn't really feel anything. I don't get why people think it's so great, replied Chloe. It was like kissing my sister, I said. It was funny because we would swim together, play ball, and even wrestle when we were young. When we became teenagers, we still walked to and from school together like brother and sister. We studied most evenings together. Other times, we rode our bikes, went to the movies, and even camped out in the backyard. The only thing we didn't do when we got older was have sleepovers. When we were younger, we did, but we made tents on the floor. Our parents thought we were too old for that now. I belonged to a few organizations at school and played baseball and soccer. I was just a regular kid and knew I didn't have a future in sports. Chloe joined the band and played the saxophone. She could play a few other wind instruments too. She was great in girls' softball and could kick butt, so we didn't see each other as much during high school. One of us always had a game or practice. I asked her if she wanted to go to the junior prom, but her mother told her she was too young, so I took another girl. My senior year, I didn't go when Chloe told me Ryan Evans asked her, and she said yes. I was going to ask her but never got around to it. She did tell me she had a nice time until Mike tried to kiss her, and she had to set him straight. She didn't tell me what she did, but it made me smile. I graduated and started working at a logistics firm. One day, when I came home, I saw Chloe sitting on her porch with a good-looking girl. I walked over and she introduced me. Ethan, this is Sophia, my cousin. Before you ask, it's her real name. She recently moved here from Nevada. Her dad, my uncle, is in the military. Sophia, this is my pal and best bud, Ethan. I told her I was pleased to meet her and asked what she did for a living. I found out she was 27, and I was 25 at the time. She told me she worked in a tech firm as a secretary. I have to say, she was a good-looking woman. I don't think Chloe liked the way I was looking at her. Surely she wasn't jealous. The three of us talked for a while on the porch, and I decided to ask Sophia out Saturday night to a movie. I was surprised when she agreed to go, as long as Chloe didn't mind. I don't want to take away her boyfriend, replied Sophia. Why would I mind? Said Chloe. Ethan and I are just good friends. Isn't that right, Ethan? She said, staring at me. I could tell by her tone that she was a bit mad but tried to hide it. Yeah, we're just good friends. Besides, there's a football game Saturday, and Chloe is in the band. I got Sophia's address and phone number and told her I would see her Saturday. I went home and had dinner with Mom and Dad. I mentioned Sophia, and they asked me what Chloe thought. She didn't say much of anything. Besides, she has to play at the game Saturday. On Saturday, I went and picked up Sophia and met her parents. They seemed nice enough but didn't say a lot. Sophia and I headed to the movies. I was surprised she wore a skirt and blouse. Chloe always wore jeans when we went to the movies. We talked a little about our jobs on the way to the movie. We got some popcorn, and Sophia wanted to sit way off to the side. I just followed her. During the movie, she put her hand on mine and moved it over on her thigh. Up until now, I had felt up a couple of girls and even got a BJ from a date. I never told Chloe about it. It didn't seem like the right thing to do, even though she was my best bud. I knew if she let a guy touch her, I wouldn't want to know. Sophia was different. She was older, 27, and must have dated for a while. She had told me she went to college for 2 years and got her degree in secretarial science. During the movie, I moved my hand all over her. She just watched the movie like she didn't know what I was doing and continued watching the movie. Thank God no one was around us. It was then that she finally looked at me and smiled. We had done everything we could do, and then Sophia and I watched the rest of the movie. After the movie, we parked and we made out. She let me feel her all over. Do you have any protection? She asked. I never carried protection. I told her I didn't, and she told me she wouldn't do it without them. She did let me touch her some more and said, maybe next time. I knew I wanted to start dating her. I asked her out again the following weekend. I made sure I kept plenty of protection in my car. I couldn't stop thinking about her. I can't say I loved her, but I knew I felt different. I saw Chloe a couple of days later. Ethan, we need to talk. What is it? I asked. You have to watch out for Sophia. She's pretty wild, and I don't want to see you get hurt. She told me what you did at the movies and asked me if I ever did it with you. I told her no, we were just good friends and not to play with your feelings. I mentioned to her that I didn't think you've had sex yet. Have you? What? You talked about what we did? How could you? Now I look like an idiot. Thanks a lot, Ethan. I care for you. You're my best friend, and I don't want to see you get hurt. I wish I never introduced you to Sophia. She then turned around and went home. I thought, women. I just don't get them. My best friend is mad at me, and her cousin probably knows I've never screwed a woman before. Great. I guess I'll have to see how it goes. On Saturday, I picked up Sophia, and she had on slacks and a blouse. I do have to admit that she looked nice, but I hope to put my hand on her bare thigh again. We went out for dinner and talked. I asked her, how come I've never met you before? Since I lived my whole life next door to Chloe? My dad is in the service and was stationed all over the place. Chloe and her parents visited us a few times throughout the years. We visited here twice, but I don't know why I never met you. Chloe probably wanted to keep you to herself. It's not like that between me and Chloe. Really, Chloe and I are just good friends. Why did you tell her about what happened at the movies? She asked me what we did and I told her. I think she got mad at me. I am going to make her even madder tonight. Why would you do that? What are you planning to do? I have the key to the apartment of my girlfriend at work. She said we could use her apartment for a few hours. Do you want to have sex with me or go to a movie? She was laughing now. We headed for the apartment. It wasn't the nicest apartment, but all I knew was I was going to get laid. We started out by kissing. She was a good kisser. She smiled as I made love. We lay there for a while and kissed when I was done. I found the protection wasn't on. I looked down and was surprised. What's the matter, Ethan? The protection came off, I replied. Oh, I can't get pregnant, said Sophia. Sophia, I said, is there any chance you could take birth control pills? You'll use protection for a while, but the pills might be safe. You'll even pay for them. Okay, I guess I'll make a doctor's appointment and see what she says. Until then, you have to use the protection. We dated regularly. The sex was great, but we didn't seem to be as compatible as I was with Chloe. Don't get me wrong here. I liked Sophia, but she was just different from Chloe. I still talk to Chloe, but she was really pissed when she found out Sophia and I had sex. How could you do that to me? Go have sex with my cousin? I told you she's bad news, but no, you wouldn't listen. I thought we were best friends. You still are my best friend. It's just that I'm a guy and wanted to get laid. Sophia seems like a nice person, and I thought you'd be happy for me. Men are so dumb. No, I'm not happy for you. In fact, I'm on the verge of hating you for what you did to our friendship. I don't know if I ever want to talk to you again. She got up and stormed home again. What the hell did I do wrong? You'll never understand women. I kept dating Sophia, and she kept putting off getting the birth control pills. I was still using protection but hadn't had any come off lately. Chloe would say hi to me and not much else. I found out she was going to her prom and didn't ask me. I went over and knocked on her door. Chloe, I thought you wanted me to take you to your senior prom. What happened? You and my cousin Sophia is what happened. Do you really think I would go to my prom with you while you're screwing my cousin? How stupid could you be? She shut the door on me. I liked Sophia, and the sex was good, but I missed seeing Chloe. My life was all mixed up, and then it got worse. I got a call from Sophia. She said she needed to see me. I went over to her house that evening. What's the problem that couldn't wait till Saturday? I asked. I went to the doctor to see if I could get birth control pills, and the doctor told me I was already pregnant just under 3 months. My periods are always mixed up, so I didn't think much about it. What are we going to do? I was in shock. I did use protection, and it did fall off that one time, but what was I supposed to do now? I was in lust with Sophia but not in love. We were just sex partners, I thought. We sat and talked about the options. Abortion was one, but I really didn't like the idea, and it would be hard to cover up and also kind of expensive. Sophia was worried about her reputation and her job. We came to the conclusion that we would get married. I knew that it was the right thing to do. I remember reading in a story where it said, "You want to play, you've got to pay." I cared enough for Sophia and believed I could love her. We told her parents that we were getting married. They tried to talk us out of it until they found out she was pregnant. They were really pissed but happy that I was doing the right thing and marrying their daughter. I told Mom and Dad that night, and they were really pissed at me. I know I really let them down, but it was too late now. The hardest person to tell was Chloe. She already knew when I went to tell her. "You're in a hole, Ethan. You're making a big mistake marrying Sophia. You would be better off not marrying her and just supporting the baby." "Ethan, I know it's too late now, but I want you to know I've always cared for you. When the time comes, and it will come, I will be there for you." I wasn't sure what she was talking about, but she started crying, gave me a hug, and closed the door. Sophia wanted to get married right away before she began to show, so we had a small private wedding the following weekend. Just our parents and my sister were there. Chloe didn't even show up, which made me feel bad. We found a small apartment that we could afford. It wasn't much, but at least we had a place to live. Our parents and other relatives gave us enough household items to begin housekeeping. Life was so different. I would come home at night and wait for Sophia. She always got off later than I did. I would usually start some kind of simple meal for us for dinner. After that, it was watching TV or visiting one of our parents. As she got bigger, she got more irritable. I just took it all in stride. I did go to Chloe's graduation. I was proud of her. Sophia got mad at me for going. I had asked her if she wanted to go, and she said she didn't, so I went myself. I don't understand women. I hugged Chloe and told her I was sorry for whatever I did to hurt her and gave her another hug. She asked me about Sophia, and that was about it. I felt like I just lost my best friend when she walked away. I was busy working and getting all the overtime I could to help pay our expenses. Thank God Sophia had insurance to cover the delivery of the baby, or should I say babies. Yes, we were having twins. I couldn't believe it. 2 kids, and I just turned 25. I was lucky to have a good-paying job, which would put the kids on my insurance at birth. Life was going by fast now. I spent most of my time working and putting away money. In our apartment, we had 2 bedrooms. We set up one for the babies. People at work gave us all kinds of things we could use. Mom threw a baby shower, and everyone knew we were having twins. During the final couple of months, sex became damn near non-existent. She did jack me off twice. Yippee! I was both nervous and tired. This was all too new to me, being a husband and soon to be a father of twins. One day, Sophia went to her parents. I chose to stay home. I was never the most welcome person at their house. I guess they felt Sophia could have done a lot better than me, but I was trying. I was sitting there putting some baby furniture together when there was a knock at the door. I got up and opened it, and there stood Chloe. She had a baby gift in her hand. I was so glad to see her. I gave her a hug, and she felt so good. She told me she was sorry she didn't make the baby shower and thought she would bring over the gift. I invited her in, and she asked me where Sophia was. I told her she went to see her parents, and I was putting together furniture. She smiled at me, and we started putting the furniture together. Damn, I missed her. She told me she was going to college for 2 years for nursing and had already started. I remember telling her she would make a good nurse and could nurse me anytime. It almost felt like old times until Sophia came in. "What the hell are you doing here? I told you to stay away from my husband. You had your chance and blew it. Now get out of my house and stay away from my husband." What the hell just happened? The 2 of them argued, and I tried to stop it, but Sophia told me to stay out of it. What did she mean Chloe had her chance? What was going on? Good thing Sophia was pregnant, because I know Chloe was capable of knocking her out. I finally told them both to shut up. "Sophia, I don't know what the hell is going on, but Chloe is and always will be my friend. She stopped by to drop off a gift for our future kids. There isn't anything going on between me and Chloe. There never has been." "Look," said Chloe, "I am sorry for all the misunderstanding. I wish you 2 the best. I better go now." She had tears in her eyes as she walked out the door. "Sophia, what the hell was that all about? Chloe's your cousin, and we've always been best friends. You had no right to treat her the way you did. I know you're pregnant, and your hormones are all mixed up, but Chloe didn't deserve that. You were spewing that, you stupid." She loves you and always has. You were just too stupid to see it. You're my husband now, and I don't want you being alone with her ever. I was lost for words. I wasn't about to start up another argument with Sophia. I just let it go for now. I did have to wonder if she knew something I didn't. Did Chloe really like me that much? As time went on, we did our best to communicate. Sophia had a few good days, but most were her blaming me for her being pregnant. She was scared, and so was I. We weren't ready for parenthood. But here we were. I got a call at work, and it was Sophia. She had to go to the hospital. The babies were coming. I left as soon as I could and met her there. I called her parents and mine. They arrived shortly after I got there. Sophia was cussing up a storm. You son of you better never touch me again. God, it hurts. I wish it was you pushing these babies so you know what it feels like. She kept going on and on. Thank God our parents didn't hear her. I was in the room for the delivery. She hardly said a nice word to me. I knew she was in pain, but there was nothing I could do. I offered to hold her hand, but she wanted no part of me. Finally, she screamed out, and I saw the head of one of the babies. It was a boy. It sure looked messed up. My stomach was becoming queasy. The nurse looked at me and saw the look on my face. Don't worry. They all look that way till we clean them up. She gave me a very welcome smile. It was a few minutes later that the second one arrived. It looked pretty much like the first one, except she was a girl. Sophia lay there looking like she just got out of a shower. 2 nurses cleaned up the babies, and another helped Sophia clean up some. I stepped out and told our parents that they were now grandparents. You have a grandson and a granddaughter. The doctor said they seemed in perfect health. I was happy the ordeal was over with. We all waited in the waiting room till we got the okay to see Sophia and the babies. She still wasn't talking to me. She wasn't saying much of anything to anyone. They brought the babies in, and of course, everyone seemed really happy, except Sophia. I knew she went through a lot, but I thought she would be more excited. The grandparents sure were. We named them Luke and Hannah. They sure were cute babies, even though they were mine. I was really happy. I was now a dad, a very proud one. In the days that followed, we took our babies home. Their room was all ready for them. Sophia seemed a little better toward them now. I tried to be as helpful as possible. Sophia didn't want to breastfeed, so our babies were on formula. I promised to help as much as I could. Sophia had taken a 2-month maternity leave. When I got home from work, she would nag at me and tell me it was my turn to watch the babies, since she had to do it all day. I really didn't mind because I loved being a dad. I was even able to change diapers right from the start. Each day, I was excited to get home and play father to my twins. Sophia did what most mothers do, but she never had a fire in her belly toward the kids. I figured it was just her emotions were overwhelmed. I did my best to comfort her. She joined an exercise club to help get her body back. Now I knew what the problem was. She was afraid she had lost her beautiful body. She went to exercise class for an hour each evening after I got home from work. In no time at all, she looked great, and I told her so. It was 2 months before she would have sex with me. She did get on birth control. She didn't want any more kids. We needed a plan for after she went back to work. My mom suggested she could watch the kids while I worked. She was crazy about the twins. Sophia would drop them off in the morning before leaving for work, and I would pick them up unless I had to work overtime. It worked out pretty good. Sometimes Mom would even have dinner ready, and I would eat there. Sophia hardly ever made dinner. I would take a plate of food home for her. One day while I was at Mom's, Sophie stopped in. God, it was so good to see her. I gave her a hug and asked her if she wanted to see the twins. Ethan, I see the twins most every day. I stop in after school and sometimes help your mom feed them. I'm not sure what word to use, but they are adorable and precious. After Mom walked out of the room, Sophie said, "Too bad their mother is a well. They deserve so much better." Sophie, that's my wife you're talking about. I know. Thank God they have a father as nice as you. She gave me a hug and went home. Mom came back in the room but kept quiet about Sophie. We talked about the kids before I took them home. It's been about 9 months since the birth of the twins. The kids are more fun than ever. I lay on the floor, and they crawl all over me. Sophia seems a lot better now as I watch her with the kids. I know she has a busy schedule working, going to exercise twice a week now, and being a mother when she's home. Mine isn't any easier. I pick them up at Mom's, make sure they're fed, and play with them till their mom shows up. It's what being a parent is all about. At least twice a week, we take them to see Sophia's parents. They love the kids also. How could they not? A couple of times, Sophie's parents were over visiting Sophia's parents. After all, the two men are brothers. Sophie's dad, Greg, is Sophia's uncle. His wife is Linda. I've known them my whole life. They were like second parents to me. Sophia's parents are Robert and Elizabeth Jones. They didn't seem to like me as much as Greg and Linda do, but I did get their daughter pregnant. Our sex life is okay, but nothing to write home about. I expected we would be going at it most every day for at least 2 years. I'm lucky if we do it twice a week. It's good when we do it, but I always have to be the instigator. We don't go out very often, maybe once every couple of weeks. It's those days I usually get laid. Sophia likes to drink, but I'm usually the one driving, so I stick with soda. I'm just trying to be a responsible driver and dad. We've gone out dancing with a couple of her friends from work. I guess I don't like the way she flirts, but not quite sure what to do about it. I have told her she was flirting a little too much, and she did back down some. Lately, I've been getting calls from her that she has to work over an hour or so. After about the third time, it happened about twice a week, it made me wonder. So on the way home, I drove by her consulting agency and saw the light on inside and her car parked there. I went ahead and went home. I did ask her about the sudden overtime, and she said they were revamping the computer system, and it was too busy during regular hours. I honestly didn't buy it. Why was it always her working over? I went by 3 different times, and it was only her car and one other, always the same car. I had to wonder if she was cheating on me. After all, she was a good-looking woman and probably alone with another man. She had a jealous streak about me, and that made me wonder if she might have taken on a lover. One day while I was at Mom's to pick up the kids, she told me she had to run to the store. While she was gone, Sophie happened to come over. I've never said anything to Sophia, but Sophie comes over when I'm there pretty often. We just talk about old times and about the kids. She is getting ready to start her 2nd year of college for her nursing degree. She was going the whole year. She told me she was studying DNA and was wondering if she could take mine. Sophie, I know what you're doing. The kids are mine, believe me. Go ahead, take our DNA and knock yourself out. Ethan, I love Luke and Hannah. As their mother, I don't trust, and you shouldn't either. For the record, I do hope they're your kids. I spend more time with them than their mother does. Sophie, why such a distrust of Sophia? She's your cousin. Look, she was a wild child when she was younger. I remembered how she was when we visited them. I don't think she's changed that much. The reason she went out with you was that she knew I loved you and planned on stealing you from me. She succeeded. Why didn't you tell me? I asked. When? Right after you screwed her? No thank you. You made your bed and now have to sleep in it. But it doesn't mean I have to stop caring for you. I have to go home now. I was shocked to hear that, but later when Mom came home, she told me that after school, Sophie always came over to visit. She would take breaks from doing her homework and help Mom with the kids. They were quite the handful. Damn. My emotions were all mixed up. I was married now and had a family. I had to do whatever it takes to make it work. I tried to help Sophia even more. Nothing seemed to improve all that much. Still had sex once or twice a week, usually after we went out. I was at somewhat of a loss until I heard a knock at the door. I answered it, and it was Sophie. Sophie, what are you doing here? If Sophia catches you here, she'll go berserk. Much as I hate to, I have to ask you to leave. She won't be here that soon. I bet you got a call. She's working over. How do you know that? I asked. I know I shouldn't get involved, but I am worried about you and the kids. I heard at college on Tuesday that a married woman where Sophia works is having an affair with a married man. One of the girls at college is a real gossip. She told me and a couple of other girls where she worked. It was part-time at the same agency as Sophia. She told us that the woman, who she wouldn't name, stays late on Tuesday and Thursday. So I drove by on Tuesday, and there was Sophia's car in the parking lot next to one other car. Today is Thursday, and I drove by, and there it was again. Sophia always calls me when she works over. She's never more than an hour late. That doesn't mean she's having an affair. Do you have any kind of proof, like pictures, that she is being unfaithful to me? No, I don't. I just thought I would tell you what I heard and saw. I'm not trying to be mean or break up your marriage. I'm sorry. It was stupid for me to even come here. I feel so stupid. It's just that we always watched out for each other. And I hate seeing you get hurt. Please just forget I was here. I was wrong to come here. Again. She left me standing there, wondering what the hell was going on. Sophia came home and said she needed a shower. She didn't even take the time to kiss me or say hi to the kids. I didn't tell her that Sophie stopped by. It would have just been an argument. Sophia did say she had something to talk to me about. We did talk the next evening. The third week of September, a number of people in my office will be taking a vacation and going to Tampa for 4 days. The company is having a conference and will be paying for the price of the rooms for the employees, plus they will be eating most meals for free. I am planning on going. What about our family? We can't take 2 little kids to Tampa. Besides, I can't get off work. I took my vacation when the kids were born. You don't have to go. Emily, one of the girls at the office, said she would share a room with me. We are going to drive there so we can save some money. My boss is expecting me to go. He said it will help me in the future. I can start studying to become an insurance agent. What if I say no? I want you to stay here with me and the kids. They don't get to see you that much. They've been calling my mother mommy. No matter what I want, you are always against it. Well, this is my job and I am going. If you can't give me a little space, then screw you. This is my future I am talking about. You can have your precious Chloe watch your kids. What does Chloe have to do with this? I hardly ever see her. I know she visits your mom all the time. Do I look like I have stupid written on my forehead? I know you still care for her. I bet you've been screwing her too. I have never done anything wrong with Chloe. You're just using her as an excuse to go to Tampa. I heard a rumor that someone in your office is having an affair. That wouldn't be you by any chance? If you choose to go to Tampa, we may not stay married when you get back. You're not going anywhere. They'll get your precious kids, and you will have a hard time seeing them when I tell the courts about Chloe, your girlfriend. As far as me having an affair, I wish I were. It was 2 weeks away, and we argued about it every day until she had her bags packed and was ready to go. She didn't work any overtime for the following 2 weeks. I had a feeling she was a bit hesitant about me finding out something. I was lost on what to do. I threatened divorce and she didn't bat an eye. I talked to an old friend at work, and he suggested I get a private investigator. He mentioned a good friend of his who handled his divorce. He even accepted credit cards. I talked to a Daniel King and he listened to my story. I told him I didn't have any proof, but I had suspicions my wife was having an affair. I told him about Tampa and gave him a list of the employees that I knew were going. Chloe found out who was going from her gossip friend that worked at the agency. I gave Joe a credit card, and he charged me $500 to look into my situation. He called me a couple of days later and said the manager of the agency was taking his wife. 2 other agents were also taking their wives. He mentioned that Logan Harris, one of the agents, was going solo even though he was married. The only other 2 people going solo were my wife and her divorced friend, Emily. Joe laughed when he saw Emily's name. He told me he followed her husband and found him cheating on Emily. It led to their divorce 2 years back. He did mention he dated her a couple of times after that. He told me he would accept my case, but it would cost me $1,000 a day plus some expenses. We figured it would be around $5,500. I explained to him that I needed proof if she was cheating on me. I didn't have that kind of money, and Joe said if I wanted to put $2,750 down on a credit card, he would charge the balance later. He promised me that if Sophia cheated on me, he would get me the proof I needed. He would keep me updated daily by email. I went home wondering if I was doing the right thing. I knew I had to get past these suspicions. If she wasn't having an affair, I would do my best to make this marriage work. On the other hand, if she was cheating on me, I would start divorce proceedings. I picked up my kids at mom's and went home. Sophia had left work early and came home and packed her bags for her trip. She kissed the kids and told me, "They'll see you in 4 days," as she laughed at me. I really didn't want to be home alone. I took the kids and went and visited one of my friends. They had kids and we enjoyed the evening together. They asked about Sophia, and I told them she had a mandatory convention to go to and would be gone for 4 days. I did mention I couldn't get off of work since I had used up my vacation. The next day, I stayed at mom's for dinner. Chloe showed up, and at first I felt a bit awkward. She knew Sophia had gone to Tampa. After dinner, we all sat around and watched TV. I felt good just having Chloe near. Before we knew it, we were joking and playing with the kids. "Chloe, whatever happened to the DNA test you took of me and the twins?" She became more solemn. I was a bit worried, and then she said, "You were right. You are their biological father. I am sorry I doubted you. I really am happy for you. They're wonderful kids." Again, I could see she was sorry she had interfered. There is no way I could stay mad at her. Deep down, I guess I always knew we should have been together, but now it was just too late. I went home that evening, put the kids to bed, and went to my computer. I had received some information from Joe. He told me that he saw Sophia, Emily, and Logan Harris sharing a table. He said he walked over to Emily, and she recognized him. He told her he was there for several days for a vacation. Emily introduced him to Sophia and Bill as an old friend. He went on to tell me they invited him to sit with them at their table. He pretended to be interested in Emily and asked her to dance. Bill and Sophia got up to dance also. He sent me a couple of snapshots from his phone, but they didn't prove anything other than they were dancing close. He explained his plan to me that he was going to date Emily and would have an inside track on what went on when they all went to their meeting the next day. He was going to plant a mini camera in their rooms. He figured if anything went on, that's where it would take place. Friday after work, I went home before going to Mom's to pick up the twins. I wanted to check the computer. Joe had a live feed set up in their bedroom. He told me that I wouldn't be able to use it in court since it was taken illegally, but I could use whatever he taped as leverage. He also put an audio bug under one of the beds. He would send me both audio and video files if there was anything to share. I figured it would be the next morning before I would know any more. I picked up the kids and went next door to visit Michael and Sarah Carter. It's been a while since I have seen them. They played with the kids, who were their grandniece and grandnephew. We talked for a while, but they didn't say much about Sophia other than we mentioned her trip. Chloe came home and was surprised to see us at their house. Mrs. Johnson asked us to stay for dinner. She made macaroni and cheese for the twins. We stayed rather late. I wasn't in a hurry to get home. This felt more like a home to me. I got up early the next morning and checked the computer before the kids woke up. My worst thoughts were real. Joe told me after the meeting that he met up with Emily, Sophia, and Bill, and they went out for dinner and drinks. When it was time to go to their room, he asked Emily to his room for a nightcap. Bill went to his room and Sophia to hers. He sent a video of Sophia talking to Bill on the phone. She told him it was safe to come back since Emily had called and said she was staying the night with Joe. When Bill got to the room, Sophia put her arms around him and began kissing him. I could hear them talking. God, I missed being with you. We had to make sure we were safe to be together. I need you to make love to me, said Sophia. They stripped and began having sex. I watched him screw her twice before I just shut off the computer. I had seen enough for now. I had 2 little kids to take care of. I called a lawyer friend and told him I needed to know my rights when I asked for a divorce. I told him I have tapes and pictures of her with her lover. Even though they might not be admissible, I wanted custody of my kids. We talked for a long time, and I let him know I would be back the following week, probably to file for a divorce. I didn't want to be alone. I needed someone to talk to, and I wanted it to be Chloe. The problem was, I didn't want her to get drawn in on the divorce. Sophia already said she would involve Chloe if I tried divorcing her. I decided to call Sophia at the hotel. She answered her phone and sounded like she had been drinking. Sophia, you haven't called, so I thought I would call you. How are you doing? I'm fine. Meetings all day, and Emily and I had dinner together. I'm getting ready for bed now. It's been pretty boring overall. I have to take a shower. I'll see you in a couple of days. Bye. I knew she was lying. I heard a man's voice in the background. She didn't even ask how me or the kids were doing. I would probably have pictures of her later. As I was sitting and playing with the kids, there was a knock at the door. I answered it, and it was Chloe. Hi, thought you might like some company, said Chloe. She came in and we talked. She was the one person that I could always talk to. She asked me why I was so gloomy, and I told her that she was right. Sophia was cheating on me, and I was going to divorce her when she came home. How do you know for sure, Ethan? I was out of place telling you about her possible affair at her workplace. You can hardly divorce her over rumors. I'm having a PI follow her in Tampa. I know it was wrong, but I had to know for sure. He sent me some files on her and Logan Harris having sex. Oh God, I am so sorry. That I ought to kick her butt, replied Chloe. I am worried about the kids. I told her if she went to Tampa, I might divorce her when she got back. She laughed at me and said she would tell a judge about me and you. But we've never done anything wrong. Only talked. She doesn't have anything against us. I almost wish she did, responded Chloe. What? Keep your shirt on, Ethan. It means I always cared for you and sometimes wondered what if we were together. Haven't you ever thought about me like that? Many, many times. But I was stupid and went after your cousin. The rest is history. The kids were in bed. and we talked of what could have been. As much as I wanted to hold her and kiss her, I was a married man. I was going to honor my vows. If I didn't, I would be no better than Sophia. Ethan, if you get divorced, they'll be here to help you through it. I would never abandon you. You'll always be my best bud. I did give her a hug. It was near midnight, and I didn't even want to check the emails. I had seen enough that morning. There was a knock on the door, and it startled Chloe and me. Who could it be at this hour, I wondered. I heard the rap again and got up to answer it. There were 2 highway patrolmen standing there. "Are you Jacob Roberts?" asked the officer. "Yes, sir. But why are you here, especially at this time of night? May we come in? We have some very sad news to tell you." "Sorry." "Yes, please come in." They saw Chloe sitting there. I figured they were wondering who she was. "Mr. Roberts, please sit down. What's this all about?" "I've been home all evening," I said as I sat down. Chloe hadn't said a word. "Mr. Roberts, are you married to Sophia Roberts?" "Yes, I am. She's in Tampa." "What did she do?" "She was killed in an auto accident, Mr. Roberts. It happened a couple of hours ago." I was stunned. Couldn't speak. I sat there stunned. Chloe spoke. "Officer, Sophia is my cousin. I am here to help Ethan with the kids. Can you tell us what exactly happened?" "We got a call from Tampa where an accident occurred. We were asked to notify the next of kin. She had her purse and driver's license, and we were asked to contact Mr. Roberts. We're very sorry for your loss. I talked to her a few hours ago. She said she was going to take a shower and go to bed. She never drove while drinking. I was always the designated driver. She wasn't alone, Mr. Roberts. She was a passenger, but it was her vehicle. Are you familiar with a Logan Harris? He was driving her vehicle and was driving under the influence. I've met him a couple of times. Why was she with him? Did he die also?" "No, he's in critical condition in the hospital. That's all we can tell you for now. If you need more information, you can contact the Tampa police tomorrow. Again, we're sorry for your loss." After the officers left, I broke down and cried. Thank God Chloe was there. She cried with me. My thoughts were coming way too fast. What should I do now? Her parents deserve to know. My parents need to know also. I wondered if I should wait till morning to call anyone. What was to gain by interrupting their sleep? Chloe said she would stay with me tonight. I shouldn't be alone. What will people think? My wife was killed, and you were in my apartment, I asked Chloe. I don't care what people think. I am not leaving you here alone. Besides, tomorrow is Saturday, and I can help by watching the kids while you notify people. Ethan, we'll get through this, I promise. I told Chloe to take the bed, and I would sleep on the couch. I wouldn't be getting much sleep anyway. It was after 2 in the morning when Chloe went to try and get some sleep. I went over to the computer to see if Joe knew what happened. First, I got some files of her and Bill kissing. Then she was undressing in front of him. The phone rang, and she was talking to me all the while Bill was pleasing her. After she hung up, she finished her drink and got dressed. She and Bill left the apartment after that. I had a long email from Joe but no audio or visual files. Ethan, if you're reading this, you must have been told of Sophia's death. I'm getting off the case now. No use wasting your money. They'll be back in town tomorrow. If you want to see me, well, just call it even for the advance. At 7, I called my parents and told them about Sophia's death. I mentioned I didn't know the whole story, but that she was a passenger in her car, and an agent where she works was driving. I didn't know any more than that, but I would find out more today. Mom was crying and told me she would be there for me. I told her I would see her later and now had to call Sophia's parents. Tom, Sophia's father, answered the phone. Ethan, is something wrong with one of the kids? It's only 7. Tom, I got a call early this morning. Sophia was killed in an auto accident in Tampa. The police stopped here and told me. I heard Tom break down. He told his wife, Maria, and I heard her scream in the background. Are they sure it's Sophia? Asked Tom. Yes, they had her purse and it was her car. She was with a fellow employee who was driving. I think they hit a post, but I don't know. They'll find out later today. I am calling the Tampa Police Department. They asked me to keep them informed and if I needed anything to give them a call. I made a pot of coffee and tried to figure out what I would do today. Chloe had gotten up and came into the kitchen and just gave me a hug. We held each other for what seemed like a couple of minutes. She had tears in her eyes. After the kids got up, we fed them and Chloe got them dressed. I dropped them off at Mom's. Chloe told me she would tell her parents about Sophia. Mom said she would keep the kids all day so I could do what I had to do. I had to contact the Tampa Police Department. I also wanted to talk to Daniel King. I contacted the police first. I explained to them who I was. They asked a lot of personal questions verifying I was Jason Brooks. We're sorry for your loss, Mr. Roberts. I'm guessing you want some particulars in your wife's death. She was a passenger in her vehicle driven by Logan Harris. Preliminary tests showed both had consumed enough alcohol so that they were drunk. Mr. Myers hit a light pole at a high rate of speed. Your wife didn't have on her seatbelt and was found pinned under the dashboard. The impact had broken her neck. The medical examiner said she died very quickly. What about Logan Harris? Is he still alive? I asked. Yes, he is in very critical condition. He is in surgery as we speak. He sustained major damage to his lower extremities. His chest was crushed against the steering column. He will be going through more surgeries. He has a 5,050 chance of survival at this point. He isn't going to be able to go scot-free if he survives, will he? No, Mr. Roberts. He will be charged with vehicular homicide in the death of your wife. He was drunk well beyond the legal limit. Sir, what do I do now? My wife's body and all. I would suggest you get a lawyer, and he will handle having the body sent to a mortuary of your choosing. We will also send her personal belongings with her body. I'll fax an accident report to your lawyer for all your insurance purposes. Again, Mr. Roberts, I am very sorry for your loss. After speaking with the police department, I got hold of the lawyer I had talked to a week before. He was surprised to hear from me so soon. I told him about the death of my wife and asked if he could help me out. He said he would meet me in a couple of hours at his office. He received the facts about the accident, and they would be sending my wife's body to the funeral home that I had chosen. They said it would be a couple of days. The lawyer said he would take care of all the legal matters. We had our insurance company to deal with, plus my wife's life insurance where she worked, and God knows what else I might need to do later. He would deal with any other legal matters that arose. I was thankful to have a caring lawyer. The next person I talked to was Daniel King. He was very sympathetic with my situation. He told me he stopped sending files when he heard about the accident. He said he was with Emily at the time. He wasn't aware that Bill and Sophia had left the hotel until he didn't see them on the visual. I asked him if there was anything he could add about the accident. Why wasn't Sophia wearing a seatbelt? What did the police mean when they said Bill was having surgery on his lower extremities? Ethan, I talked to a friend at the police station. Are you sure you want to know these things? The press got the same story that you were told. So what wasn't I told, Joe? Sophia wasn't wearing a seatbelt because she was giving Bill a blowjob. She wanted to get up quickly and hit the steering wheel. He lost control and she fell forward under the dashboard as he hit a light post. She literally bit off his tool. It was in her mouth when they found her. I'm not sure if she choked or broke her neck first. What a horrible way to die. According to the report, she didn't suffer long. As for Logan Harris, he will be suffering for a very long time. He collapsed a lung, broke a number of ribs, and damaged his spleen. They might find more damage while they are operating. If he makes it through all of that, he will face vehicular homicide charges. I thanked Joe and needed to talk to Chloe. I called her and she met me for coffee. What is it, Ethan? What did you find out? I don't know how much I should tell everyone. I told her the whole story that Joe had told me. Don't tell it to anyone, Ethan. Don't ruin the memories that everyone has of her. Just go along with the printed story that says they hit a post and she was killed. You can say they were coming back from dinner. You have no reason to get even with her. She is the mother of your kids, and you want her parents in the kids' lives. Nothing would be gained by spewing insults about her. You're much better than that. Chloe was so much more level-headed than I was. I had a copy of the police report and that's what I told people. Sophia's parents helped me pick out the funeral arrangements. I felt they needed a way to mourn. Chloe suggested it. She also said she would stay in the background during the services. We had a nice service, and it was well attended by my friends and by Sophia's friends and fellow employees. I knew that some of them were aware of her cheating on me by the way they talked to each other. I stood there with Sophia's parents and greeted everyone. Mom and Dad paid their respects and went home to watch the kids so Chloe could come to the funeral home. I wished I could have hugged her longer and sat beside her, but it might not have seemed appropriate. After the funeral, I had a long talk with Mom and Dad. It would just be too hard for me to care for the kids myself. We all agreed that I would move back home to my parents' house. I could have my old room back, and the twins could share the spare room. I started back to work after taking time off for the funeral. I didn't work any overtime. I really didn't have a need to. One day, I got a call from my lawyer, and he told me to stop by Sophia's employer. It was to pick up her personal things, and they had the life insurance check as well as money from Sophia's savings plan. Most of the employees paid their respects again, but I could see that some, like Emily, did their best to avoid me. I wanted to yell at them and tell them that I knew about Sophia's cheating and how two-faced they all were. But like Chloe said, let it go. Because it was considered an accidental death, I received $110,000 plus a few thousand from her savings. I took the money and put it in the bank for now. I figured I would invest it later for the kids' education. I also got a large payment from the auto insurance company. They paid for accidental death and for Sophia's car. My lawyer had talked to Logan Harris Insurance Company also. I actually collected more money from his insurance company since he was driving Sophia's car. I paid my lawyer his fees and thanked him for not bringing up the possible divorce. He just smiled and shook my hand. Life was back to something like normal. To say I didn't miss Sophia would be a lie. She was my wife and the mother of my kids. I cared for her, but I guess she just wanted more than I had to offer. The kids were growing and speaking a few words. It was funny how they began calling the older women in their life Nana. That would be their grandparents and also Chloe's mom. The younger women, like my sister and Chloe, they called Mama. How they knew any difference, I didn't know. I was Dad. I wish I knew what was a normal period of mourning. I wanted to get serious with Chloe, but I wanted to wait the proper time. I was still mixed up and doing the best I could. My parents were wonderful in helping me. They treated Chloe like another daughter, but they have always done that. Sophia's parents would come and see the kids, or I would take them over to see them every week. They treated me okay, but I doubt I was ever on their favorites list. A few months had gone by, and they asked if they could throw a birthday party for the kids at their house. Everyone showed up, my parents, my sister's family, Chloe, and her parents were there also. Seeing they were relatives, Tom had asked to talk to me alone, and we went into the other room. Ethan, I guess you know that we didn't want Sophia to marry you. Everyone wants the best for their kids. I now know that you are a good person and the truth about Sophia. I did a little investigating and found out that Sophia had been cheating on you. I know you knew about it but did all you could to keep anyone from knowing. It could have really ruined her image as well as our families. I want to thank you for that. Maria and I both want to see you go on with your life. You have mourned enough for such a young man. We feel you should get back into dating and maybe find a wonderful wife for our grandbabies. Again, we want to thank you for the respect you showed our family. I had tears in my eyes and hugged the big military guy. I knew it was hard for him to say. I didn't ask where he got his information but didn't disagree with it either. We had a great party for the kids. Before I left, I told Tom and Maria that they would always be in the kids' lives no matter what my future brings. One weekend, Chloe came over all dressed up and asked to see Mom. She looked beautiful. Why are you all dressed up? I asked. I am going to a party next weekend and wanted your mother's opinion on my outfit. Before I could say anything else, Mom came into the room. You look gorgeous. You'll have all the boys chasing after you. Doesn't she look beautiful, Ethan? Asked Mom. Yes, she does. I wasn't sure what to say. I was about to ask her out on a real date this weekend, and here she was all dressed up and finding the right clothes for a date. I was afraid to ask who she was going with. Thanks, Mom. I better go home and change. Talk at you later, Ethan. She walked out smiling. Mom, has Chloe been dating? I asked. My lord, of course she has. She doesn't go out very often because of school, homework, and watching after you and the kids. But yes, she's been on a few dates. Why do you ask? No reason in particular. I just never knew it. She usually tells me everything. Do you really want her to tell you about her dating? I don't think so. She's a wonderful person, and I want the best for her, just like I want the best for you. Chloe came back over later, and we sat on the porch and talked. You looked beautiful earlier, I said. She kind of laughed and said, what do I usually look like? I knew she was joking. Chloe, how come you never told me you dated? Ethan, you were going out with Sophia, and before I knew it, you two got married. That pretty much took me out of the picture. Where's the party at that you're going to? It's not actually a party but a wedding of one of my classmates. It's in Dallas, so we have a room for the night. I heard the word we and my stomach tightened up. I felt sad and wasn't sure what to say. Good thing he has more money than me because I couldn't afford to stay at the hotel, said Chloe. I was so mixed up. I thought we could finally get together, and now this. Who are you going with, Chloe? I asked. She stared at me before answering. It seemed like minutes, but was only a couple of seconds. You, Ethan. I want you to go with me to the wedding. Now I was really confused. Are you saying you want me to take you to the wedding? What about this other guy? There isn't another guy. I want a real date with you, not just a buddy's night out. I talked with your mother, and she told me to do it this way. You needed to be shaken up a little. So are you going to take me? Your mom said she would watch the twins. Mom walked out on the porch. Did you ask him yet, Chloe? Yes, I am waiting for his answer, replied Chloe. Of course, he'll take you. All you had to do was ask. This is an important date, Ethan. I'm really sticking my neck out here. He'll be introducing you to all my friends at school and not as my buddy. Saturday came and I picked up Chloe. She looked so beautiful. I wished it was us getting married. I cared for her so much. We checked into the hotel, and she did have the room in my name. I had to laugh when they asked me for my credit card. Chloe stood there and was almost laughing. We went to our room, and I realized that Chloe and I would be spending the night together. Of course, I knew it but didn't give it much thought. We freshened up a little and headed to the wedding. After the wedding, we headed to the reception. Chloe introduced me as Ethan, her boyfriend. I loved the sound of that. We sat at a table with some of her friends, and it was like seeing another side of Chloe. We danced, and I held her close. I watched her dance with some of her friends. She kept looking at me while she danced. I think she knew I was feeling jealous. Finally, I was with her again. I kissed her. It just happened. It was sweet yet passionate. Was it like kissing your sister? She laughed at me because that's what I said to her when I was 11. I just kissed her again. At the end of the evening, we went back to our room. Chloe asked me to unfasten the back of her dress. She slipped it off and went into the bathroom. I took off my suit and shirt. Chloe stepped out in a red negligee. She looked so damn sexy. I still had on my briefs and a t-shirt. Ethan, before we go any further, I need you to tell me you love me. You know I've always loved you, Chloe. Took me a while to realize that the reason you were always my best friend was that deep down I loved you. The problem was I found out too late. Please forgive me. I love you with all my heart. We kissed and turned off the lights. The only light was coming from the bathroom. I kissed Chloe over and over. Do I need protection, Chloe? No, I've been on the pill ever since you got Sophia pregnant. If I had sex, I wanted to be protected. I said I took birth control pills. I never mentioned that I had sex. Just be gentle with me, or I'll kick your butt. We both laughed. It was only minutes later when we were making love. She was telling me how much she always loved me. How could I have been so stupid and blind my whole life to not notice? After some time, she turned over on her side, and I cuddled up against her. Before I knew it, I was fast asleep. When I woke up the next morning, we were still laying the same way. She got up and took a shower. Afterwards, I took one also. When I came out of the bathroom, she had us both a cup of coffee but first told me how wonderful I was and kissed me. On our way home, I asked her to elope with me, and we could go get married. She didn't answer, so I asked her again. Chloe, would you like to take off with me and become my wife? She looked over at me. No, Ethan. I want to elope with you and get married. I was shocked. I thought you loved me. That being together last night was to show our love for each other. Why won't you marry me? Is it because of the kids? Ethan, I love you more than anyone, and nobody loves those kids more than me. Then why won't you marry me? I don't understand. I never said I wouldn't marry you. I said I wouldn't elope with you. Ever since I was a little girl, I always wanted that big wedding and me in a white gown. I know I told you that 1,000 times while we were growing up. I want the church wedding and my mom in a beautiful dress and dad walking me down the aisle. I am an only child, and I would never take that away from them. If you want to wait till I finish college, I am in my last semester. We can get married in October at the beginning of summer. By then, we can find a place to live, and I can have the wedding I've always wanted along with the man I've always wanted. I know I had tears coming down my cheeks. I told Chloe it must be my allergies. Ethan, no one knows you better than me, and you don't have allergies. We both laughed. We told my parents and Chloe's about the wedding plans. Her mom and dad were so excited. My mom had tears in her eyes. She has always loved Chloe but would never interfere in my life. Chloe said we had to go see her Uncle Tom and Aunt Maria, Sophia's parents. They seemed a bit surprised when they answered the door seeing me and Chloe together. Chloe addressed Tom, but both he and Maria were together. Uncle Tom, I need to talk to you. Ethan and I are getting married in October. We would like your acceptance. I know there were rumors flying about that Ethan and I were being intimate while he was married to Sophia. I stand here before you to tell you it isn't true. We never as much kissed while he was married. I can't say I didn't care for him because I did, but at the time he chose Sophia. Ethan and I stayed friends, but I swear we were never intimate. Tom walked over and gave Chloe a hug. Chloe, I believe you, and besides, I know you don't need my permission to marry Ethan. Maria and I wish you both the best. I can't think of another woman that I would want to be the mother of our grandchildren. Time was going by, and we went house hunting and found a nice place with a yard for the kids. We put down a deposit to hold it for us. After Chloe graduated, she spent most of her free time planning our wedding. She did find a job at a local doctor's office. I helped her as much as I could, sending out invitations, helping with the catering, and, of course, spending time with my kids. They were now calling Chloe Mom. It sounded so cute when they said it. Pretty soon, they will be calling her Mommy. The wedding went even better than planned. Chloe looked like an angel in her white gown. The kids wobbled down the aisle as ring bearer and flower girl. After we said our I dos, we all headed over to a hall for a large reception. After the reception, Chloe and I made love most of the night. We then took a trip for several days to Austin, Texas. When we arrived home, we went to our new home with banners and signs welcoming us home. The twins, along with our family and friends, were there to greet us. It's been 4 months since our wedding. Chloe is now officially Mommy, and she loves it. I am still Dad. Everything has been wonderful. Our kids have 6 wonderful grandparents that love them. Mom still watches them while we work, but Linda has been spending a little more time with my mom. We do our best to see Tom and Maria at least once a week. They are always welcome at our home. Chloe just came home and told me to sit down. She had something she needed to tell me. Again, my emotions were mixed up, expecting the worst. Ethan, I stopped taking the pill a couple of days before our wedding. I am here to inform you that you are one potent man. I am pregnant. I broke down and cried. They were tears of joy. This might be the end of the story, but the start of a great life with a woman I have always loved. Jason's journey shows how love can find its way through life's chaos. What would you have done in his place? Share your thoughts, like, and subscribe for more stories. Thanks for watching.